Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Let the filibustering begin.
Welcome to Nerd Party.
Hello and welcome to Filibuster here on the Nerd Party Network. Happy New Year! And it's been a wee while since we've put out a wee podcast here on Filibuster. Life's been so busy for us all over Christmas and New Year. But we're starting the new year, so there's always one kind of podcast you've always got to do at the start of New Year. Looking back on the past and what movies stood out for us, maybe what disappointed us, and maybe what's got us excited for the year ahead. And I'm so excited to be joined by Matt Hansen again. How are you, Matt? Did you have a good Christmas and New Year?
I did have a good Christmas and New Year. It feels good to not have to be working 24/7.
Preach it. I feel like I've been off for too long. I had over 2 weeks on holiday in America, came back for 2 weeks to do some work, and then I've been on holiday for the past week and a half, so I'm starting to feel like I need to get back in some sort of routine, and otherwise I'm just going to keep eating chocolate and watching Amazon Prime Seinfeld over and over again. Have you watched any good movies over the Christmas break?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I don't want to give it away too early, but my number one movie of the year is something that I saw over Christmas break.
Ooh, very exciting. Well, we'll dive straight into it. So what me and Matt are going to do is we're going to talk about our top 10 movies of the year. We'll take a turn each, talk about the movie, and hopefully we'll have some interesting lists to compare with each other. Now, my list, I was having to think about mine. I've got a top 10 list, but about four of the movies in my list came out in America in 2016, but we got them in the UK in 2017. I've decided, for just making it a bit exciting, kind of adding a bit of variety to the list, I'm going to remove those movies from the list. So
right.
In my top 10, I had Jackie at number 1, I had La La Land at number 4, Moonlight at number 6, and 20th Century Women at 9. So I've taken them out. Those are my top 10 of the UK movies, but for variety, I'm going to take them out, and hopefully we won't be talking about movies from well over 14 months ago on a podcast in 2018.
And there's also movies that I'm still dying to see, and I have a feeling would have ended up on this list that came out in 2017, but because they're awards and indie films, they're not coming out until the beginning part of 2018.
Yeah. And this is where it's a pain for me as well. Like, there's so many movies that come out in America November, December time. We're lucky to get them into January, February time. It can be so frustrating. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, stuff like, I mentioned this the last time we recorded a podcast together, but Call Me By Your Name, I'm dying to see that film, but it's not coming out here until the 19th of January.
That's surprising, because it came out here months ago, which seems like a bit of the other way around. And when I was in America a month or so ago, some of the East Coast cinemas were showing it then, and yeah, it was quite exciting to see there.
But you were in major metropolitan cities.
Of course, I was with the coastal elite, where movies like that are well enjoyed.
That's where they get to go first when they come to, like. I mean, we're not in the middle of nowhere, but we're a smaller town than a lot of the major cities, so we get it later. So I'm going to see that as soon as I can on the 19th.
Excellent. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. So let's dive in, Matt. So I think you should step up to the plate first. What was your number 10 movie of 2017?
Well, it's surprising to me that this movie ended up here, because I didn't expect it to. And for your list, it's probably far too low, so I imagine we're going to be talking about it again at some point. But my number 10 movie is Dunkirk.
Oh, I've got it a bit higher on my list. So me and Matt spoke off air, and what we're going to do is, if one of us says a movie and it's higher up on another person's list, we'll move the talk of that up to the higher point. So yeah, we'll come to Dunkirk later on. Of course, Christopher Nolan was going to be in my top 10.
Right, of course it was, and I figured he would be higher, because I mean, it's shocking to me that a Christopher Nolan movie for me is in my top 10, but I ended up really loving that movie. So
excellent. Yeah, we'll come to that one. Now, this is one I'm not sure if it would make your list. Obviously, I've spoken before on Filibuster. I'm not the biggest horror fan in the world, but one horror movie has made it into my top 10. Actually, maybe you could argue another one. Raw. I don't know if you've seen that one, Matt.
No, I haven't seen that one.
It's a French-Belgian movie, so that gives you a bit of an idea about the type of movies ahead for me, about a young vegetarian who undergoes a hazing ritual when she starts vet school, where she has to take a sample of meat, and then so kicks off a taste for meat. And that taste for meat doesn't just extend to animals, but it extends to humans. And it's a fantastic story all about coming of age, sexuality, and it contains some of the most messed up scenes I've seen all year. It really is fantastic. It's got a performance by a young actress that I think is really going to kind of stand out in the next few years. I'll have to get her name up here because I'm going to struggle to pronounce this one. But Granacine Marilieri. I'm probably butchering that name as I speak, but yeah, she stole the show as this young vegetarian, and the movie it's sexually empowering. You're watching it, and the soundtrack, the visual imagery, the horror scenes, it really is fantastic. And I think with French cinema in particular, it's always very liberated with how they treat sex and violence. So yeah, I highly recommend this movie, and especially to yourself, Matt, someone that loves a good horror movie.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out for sure.
Yeah, it seems to have kind of had a lot of crossover appeal. It's one of these movies that you see popping up on a lot of top lists of the year. So for a small French-Belgian movie to be cracking so many people's lists is really a good sign. So hopefully another success for European cinema across the globe.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's your number 9 then, Matt?
My number 9, speaking of, well, it's not really horror, but this was a big breakout hit in 2017, at least in America. I mean, I don't know how it did over there, or even if you saw it, Lee, but my number 9 movie is Get Out.
I saw Get Out. I think everyone's seen Get Out. It seems to be one of these movies that is in everyone's top 10 list, but not mine, so we can have a bit of a chat about this one.
I was surprised by this movie. When I saw the trailers, I thought it was just going to be like another generic horror film that, maybe I would or wouldn't see. But then the reviews came out, and the reviews were stellar, so I was really curious. It came around my birthday this last year, so I went to go see it, and I remember just being like, that is the most fun I've had with a thriller in a long time. So it was very socially relevant. It was very... this little film that came out of nowhere that cost, I think, like $5 million to make, and it made over $200 million worldwide.
Yeah, it seems to have truly been like this huge breakout movie. I mean, I saw it when it came out, and it was one of those things. There was a bit of hype going into it. It seems to have really exploded sort of the past few months with people putting on their lists, and it seems like a movie that everyone's kind of gone off and seen. I thought it mixed horror, kind of suburban terror, and comedy at points really, really well. And I don't know about you, but I sit in an office with what we call tea jennies, and everyone's always got a cup of tea, and if I ever hear someone's spoon going round the rim of a cup, I'm automatically flashing back to Get Out. It's certainly stuck in my subconscious.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those horror movies that, you don't always get this with a horror movie. I think all the roles are brilliantly acted, and the last third is just, this revenge fantasy that was just, for me, it was a lot of fun. It reminded me, the kind of fun that I had with Get Out reminded me of the same kind of fun I had with Cabin in the Woods 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of payoff in the last act, I think, is really earned, that we've built this tension throughout the 80 odd minutes of the movie, and then when he finally gets his chance to get his revenge, it's so well earned that you really cannot stand these loathsome, really right-wing slave fantasist loving folk, and you think, oh my god, this is just brilliant. So yeah, it's quite an interesting movie, and as you say, like the best horror we got in the past, when it's socially relevant, it really seems to transcend.
Right. I mean, I've got, including Get Out, I've got 2 horror movies on my top 10 list, so it wasn't a terrible year for horror for me.
Excellent. Well, that's always good to hear, because horror seems to be one of these things that seems to have been on a bit of a decline the past few years.
But we're going to be talking, like, when we get to the end of the show, we talk about most anticipated for 2018. Horror is going to be on my list, and I think you can already guess which one I'm talking about.
Absolutely. Jigsaw 2.
Yeah, totally.
Well, my number 9 is something we've spoken about on the Nerd Party before. It seemed to split opinion. I personally loved it. I know Tristan on Nerd Nuptial much less so, and we've had quite a vocal discussion about this one. But I'm a huge fan of Okja. Did you see Okja? Is that on your list?
No, that was something that was being buzzed about, and it just came out at a time here in America where I was like deep into law school work, so I didn't get a chance to see it, but I heard many, many good things.
Yeah, it's I'm going to be terrible. I'm going to be all our listeners will be complaining about my pronunciation of so many names, but Jun-Hoo Bong, his latest movie Okja, it kind of generated controversy from day one. It's a Netflix movie, and when it got shown at the Cannes Film Festival, when that Netflix little logo popped up at the beginning, people were booing. You know, the idea that Netflix is going to be ruining cinema, which is total nonsense. And then obviously Okja kind of came out to good reviews, and then it's been on kind of Netflix for a good few months now. I was really lucky to have seen this in a cinema. It got a bit of a screening here at the International Festival here in Edinburgh, so it was so exciting. Like, it was one of the most packed press screenings of the whole lot, so there was a lot of anticipation going into this one, and it was one that it kind of spoke to me, and I thought it was so exciting to watch. It's the story of a young girl who is trying to prevent a powerful multinational company from kidnapping her best friend, a super pig called Okja. Now, Okja is been designed by this company as part of trying to cure world hunger, and they've gone out into different wildernesses and wilds with families all around the world, and this family in South Korea have raised Okja, this super pig, and it's the most successful one of the super pigs. So the multinational company are bringing him back to New York, and it is fantastic. The cast is filled with Tilda Swinton and Jake Gyllenhaal basically chewing the scenery as over-the-top, flamboyant villains. We've got a wonderful character, Mija, played by Si Hyun An. Probably got that one wrong as well. I'm sure you could have a drinking game at home with my horrible pronunciations. And it's just one of these casts and stories that I think makes for a fantastic family movie, and it's something that appeals to, I think, all ages as well. I think it's PG-13 R-rated, but I think you could watch it with a family, you know, slightly older kids, of course. But I think it's one of those movies that it's impossible not to feel good, or I think it's almost a perfect case for becoming a vegetarian. I think the one disappointing thing is that it is kind of confined to Netflix, where movies like this really do shine on a big screen. The cinematography is stunning, the special effects are great on the big screen, and that's always my one disappointment with Netflix movies, is you maybe get the odd movie screening here or there to make it accessible for award nominations, but ultimately you're going to have to make do with watching on a TV, and while 4K TVs, big screen TVs all make for great viewing at home, it's just not quite the same as watching it in a cinema. So if you get the chance to see Okja, enjoy it on the TV, but if somehow a chance to come and see it at the cinema comes up, please take it. Cool. So yeah, that's Okja for me. So yeah, I highly recommend that one to you, Matt. If you've got the time before you go back to school, definitely check out Okja. Don't listen to Tristan, which I know you wouldn't anyway.
No, I rarely, if ever, do.
So what would be your number 8 of the year? My
number 8 of the year is actually an indie film that really surprised me when it came out. I wanted to see it because of the 2 leads in it, and it ended up being a very powerful, dramatic story that I had no knowledge of when it started, and that was Wind River.
Ooh, excellent choice. Not on my top 10, but I did think quite highly of it.
Now, obviously, I was going to go see it because of Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen, but like I said, it's based on supposedly true events that I had never been aware of or ever heard of, and the last third act of that movie, where you find out everything that happened, it's really intense emotionally and physically, and I just think it's so well acted. It's a great suspense crime drama, and if people haven't seen it, I highly recommend they check it out. Just be aware that the last act is a little bit emotionally heavy.
Yeah, it's quite a harrowing last act when you've got this thriller and it all comes together in the last kind of stretch. And you think, oh my god, it's harrowing, and the coda at the end when it comes up on the screen about obviously there's an element where like a horrific crime takes place, and it highlights the injustice that takes place in kind of Indian land and reservations in terms of like crimes being followed up and the amount of women that go missing. And it really surprised me as a film, and with the message it was trying to tell. Right.
And again, I just, powerful message, great cast, great movie.
Absolutely. My number 8, I don't think this one will be on your list, or probably anyone on the Nerd Party's list, and shame on them if they've not seen it, but it's a sequel, and it is T2 Trainspotting. I don't know if you've seen this one, Matt?
No, I haven't seen it yet. It's so funny now. Like when people say T2, I have to ask whether they're talking about Trainspotting 2 or Terminator 2.
There was an interview with Danny Boyle where, as you say, anyone that's a movie fan or geek will think T2, that's Terminator. And then they were like, well, if we came up with the idea that if anyone asked the characters to name the movie, that's what they would do, T2 Trainspotting. This was a film that was kind of filmed in my hometown here of Edinburgh, and it's been quite exciting to get to this moment that anyone in Scotland has always grown up watching Trainspotting, either far too young, or, well, I think everyone's watched it far too young, or you watched it at the time. So it's always kind of ingrained in the Scottish mentality what a great film Trainspotting is. And Trainspotting, apart from the kind of opening 5 minutes, is really pretty much all based in Glasgow in terms of the shots. Like, they say it's Edinburgh, but it's Glasgow.
I was just going to say, I was really curious about this movie because, I mean, I haven't seen the first one, and I should. Because I do like Danny Boyle, but I'm not Scottish, so it's like it's not in my DNA like it is yours. But I was curious to see how this would play out, because this is one of those cases where it's a sequel that's coming years after the original. Oh yeah, which and may or may not work.
Yeah, and that was always kind of the hope, was that this movie was always going to come eventually. And with Trainspotting 2, it was obviously based on a book, and the book was called Porno. I think based on kind of international selling tickets, I don't think they could have got away with calling it that.
I think that would have sold more tickets, but that's just me.
Yeah, and the book itself was based 20 years after Trainspotting, so it's always been one of those ones that if it was going to take a while, it was okay. It was going to sync up eventually.
Oh, okay. So it was intent. I didn't know it took place 20 years after, like in the book. So they intentionally waited that long. That's interesting. Yeah. I thought it was just something. You won't see Ewan McGregor channeling Michael Douglas and Ant-Man and being de-aged. Like when they're 20 years older, they're 20 years older. Or I guess Guy Pearce in the Alien films where they're aging him up.
Yeah, absolutely. This all kind of naturally clicked together, and they were filming here in Edinburgh for a good few months, and it was impossible not to do anything in Edinburgh without seeing some sort of filming. I remembered one day popping to get some bread and milk. They're filming in a building just around the corner from my flat. You're going to work. Oh, they're shooting Trainspotting here today. There was scenes that I saw them shooting walking to work one day that didn't make to the final cut. They turned an Urban Outfitters into an Apple shop, despite the fact there was an Apple shop at the end of the street. The magic of Hollywood. And it's one of those ones you watch and you think, wait, he's just ran from there to there. Wait, that's not where it should be. And for me, Trainspotting doesn't just work as like appealing to me as someone that kind of has grown up with it, has seen the kind of filming happening. The premiere itself literally took place at the bottom of my street in my previous flat. I got pictures with the cast. It was crazy. We got wristbands to go see the red carpet premiere. I had number 35, and if you had wristbands 1 to 30, you got to go in and see the premiere. I was gutted, and there was like loads of people had already left, and I thought, I'm in a shoe in here. I'm number 35. I've got to have moved up. And then they just started randomly handing them to people, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I should be going in there. I should be going. It was terrible. But I think, like as I was saying, Trainspotting 2 set 20 years in the future, and it would be so easy to make Trainspotting with them fatter and older, whatever. But they didn't, and what's so great about Trainspotting, and it seemed to be totally missed by, I think it was Variety, But put this down as one of the most. Variety magazine put this down as one of the most disappointing movies of the year.
Variety's been on my naughty list this year. I've disagreed with a lot of their reviews.
Yeah, their basic complaint was it's focused on them being over the hill, melancholy, and reflecting on their younger selves.
I was going to say,
not taking enough drugs. That's the point of the movie.
I was going to say, isn't this like well, I mean, it was a drug. The first one was a drug movie. I assume drugs has a theme in this movie. How do you do it?
Only a little bit.
I mean, but how do you do a movie like that dramatically and then have it not have some sense of melancholy? That
exactly.
Just doesn't seem possible.
And it doesn't understand that Edinburgh is like an incredibly multicultural city. It's, a festival city, film festival, book festival, jazz festivals, magician festivals. It is a brilliant city that's so diverse, and it's so changed from the 90s when kind of Trainspotting was based that in there, I live in the area that's sort of depicted in the movie Leith, and Leith had this reputation in the early 90s. It was the HIV capital because of people were using the needles. The Trainspotting, despite the fact it was filmed sort of in Glasgow, but it was based in Edinburgh, and Edinburgh had that reputation. It was the drug capital, and it's you hear football fans singing. If people come from out of town to cheer on their team against the Edinburgh teams, it's the Hibs or Hearts fans are called junkies. It has that rep. Whereas now that's long changed and long gone. There's still people that have a drug issue, but that Leith is gone and changed. And in this movie, it talks about that you can't just be a junkie for 20 years. You'd be dead. You would be jumped off a bridge. You'd have taken an overdose. It just wouldn't be realistic. People move on with their lives. People that took drugs heavily in the 90s are now probably IT managers or baristas or whatever. And Trainspotting really does focus on that you had those younger days where you made some serious mistakes. You betrayed people. Where are these people now? And I think that's what makes Trainspotting 2 work so well. There's a couple of scenes of drug use, but that's not the story.
That makes me want to see it now, because I go to school with people like that. So people who did all those things that you mentioned are now going to law school. So
yeah, and it would have been ridiculous. Like Variety, the fact that people change in sequels. This 20 years, Edinburgh's changed, these characters have changed, and it really was fantastic to see something like this, and it's been such an enjoyable movie to watch several times since, and it gives you a lot of pride in your city, and I think it's been a fantastic movie.
Yeah, well, you sold me. I definitely I'll check out both films.
That's a double bill and a half. We did a podcast on it earlier in the year. We had 3 Edinburgh folk, myself and 2 others. We did a bit of a round table on Trainspotting 2. So if you've seen it and you want to hear more about our thoughts on Trainspotting 2, I think it's probably one of the longest filibusters ever. So it almost is a true filibuster.
Right.
I highly recommend checking it out.
Well, I just like how with this movie, and like, you guys are getting so much exciting stuff filmed in your town. I mean, because, like, side note for everybody, don't think Lee didn't message me every time he saw something related to Avengers Infinity War in the town.
Preach it. So it's all coming off. Those tax deductions are coming all together. So Matt, what's your number 7 choice? My
number 7 choice is probably going to be on your list, because you're the one who inspired me to see it. My number 7 choice is inspired by a movie I just saw like a week ago, and it's The Disaster Artist.
That's my number 7 as well.
Is it? Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
so
I kid you not. Number 7.
Yeah.
Tell me about, like, you're new to this, Matt.
Yeah.
Tell me about your story.
Yeah, because I had never seen The Room. I knew of the phenomenon. My brother loves The Room. So I just finally sat down. I bought the riff tracks, actually, and I sat down and watched it with the riff tracks because I figured that would be entertaining. And it was. And so I knew I wanted to watch the film before I went to go see Disaster Artist, and because it had all the buzz behind it, so I wanted to know the context of the movie. And then I saw it, and it was... I saw it with in a small theater, but with a very enthusiastic crowd who we were all laughing and taking the film in. And I tell you, even as someone who had only seen The Room once at that point, I was able to enjoy it and get into the story, and I just thought it was fantastic.
What like that's so exciting to hear that people like got into this and dug it. Like for me, I'm almost the opposite of you. Like I've seen The Room countless times on the big screen. I've been to those events where people are throwing the spoons, and we're really lucky here in the UK. Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero, they come to like London and Edinburgh a lot for screenings of this movie. I've met them. I've seen Tommy, and I've met him 2-3 times. Met Greg Sestero once, and yeah, like it's so cool. We'll always go along. We'll always bring along new friends to these Room events, and this movie's been so anticipated amongst me and my friends for ages. Believe it or not, next month, I can say next month now, in February, I'm going to be down in London. I'm going to be going to see The Room again, but this time Tommy and Greg are going to be there together, so that'll be really exciting. So I'm bringing along a friend. She's never seen The Room or The Disaster Artist, so this is going to be her first experience, so it's really exciting. So what was it that you liked most about The Disaster Artist?
I just find, because when you see something like The Room, you're dying to know how that set was, right? Yeah. I mean, and I imagine that's the point of Greg Sestero's book that this is based off of. It is,
yeah, a fantastic book.
But as soon as I finished The Room, I was like, okay, I've got it. Like, the curiosity was killing me. So, I just saw this. Like, I think I saw this on Christmas Day at nighttime. That's a brilliant movie to watch on Christmas Day. Jesus would be proud. Yeah. No, I'm telling you, I'm willing to bet that the other people I'm almost certain the other people who were in my audience were the kind of people who do go to the midnight showings and the cult screenings and all that sort of stuff, because they were laughing before the jokes even came out, you know.
Yeah. And what I think works so well about the movie is that it's not just a comedy, or like that movie maybe with Franco and Rogan in their early days would have been almost a parody, would have been a bit of a piss take. With this, it's melancholy, it's humorous, it respects everyone.
It's a dramedy, is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's all the better for that. Like, I think Franco is amazing.
Yeah, he nailed it.
But the problem is that these are the type of performances that are overlooked by things like the Academy Awards, where I say that and they'll end up nominating.
Well, I mean, he's already been nominated for a Golden Globe, and yeah. that's you know, at least in America, that's like a prelim for the Academy Awards. So never say never.
Of course, but like you always see it with like a performance like this, where they'll easily say, "Well, he's just doing a comedy routine of someone else." It's not just he nails that performance.
There's several dramatic moments with him in it.
Oh yeah, and me and my friends have seen Tommy Wiseau. We've been up close with him. We've had some bizarre chat with him. We've looked at him and thought, "Oh my god, like he nails it. All the little touches he does, the vocal work. It's fantastic." And you settle into it so quickly, going, "Yep, this is a genuinely brilliant performance."
And I was also quite taken aback by Dave Franco. Like I know,
I think it's a breakout for him.
Yeah, I think so too. And like the thing I know this is such a weird thing to compliment him on, but Dave Franco, I mean, I know what the dude looks like. He has a very distinct look, but they made him really look like Greg Sestero. Like when he's got the beard and the hair, like I didn't recognize him as Dave Franco at all.
And I think this is the type of performance, like Dave Franco's done some really interesting work, some great comedies, but there's never been a movie you think, "Oh, Dave Franco's really broken."
No, he's usually like a great supporting character.
Yeah, and he's a supporting character in this, but I very much think this is going to be his more, where he thinks like casting agents, directors will look at that and think, this guy has got it.
Yeah, he's a supporting character in this, but he's one of those supporting characters that's bordering on starring. Like it's almost a co-bill between the two Franco brothers.
Well, I'm glad that we matched up with our number 7. So I guess this rolls back to you. What's your number 6 then? I have a feeling we're not going to match up with this one.
Yeah, probably not, because like most of my other lists, except for my number 1, were blockbusters, and because I'm just that kind of person. So my number 6 was a movie that I know you ended up really liking and kind of was surprised by, and that's Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yes, it was. I recently just rewatched this one. It's not in my top 10, but it's definitely been. It was one of my most enjoyable movies of the year.
Yeah, it was just, you know, everybody knows that I'm a fan of the MCU, so we just get that out of the way. But you know, it was good to to really be looking forward to a Spider-Man movie again and seeing how it all fit in with the greater universe. Because when I saw Civil War, I was one of those people that was like, well, Spider-Man really doesn't need to be in this universe. The universe doesn't really need him. But when I saw his 15 minutes in Civil War, I was like, I have no idea how much I needed this in my life. And so I was really looking forward to this. And it was just nice to finally focus on the high school aspect and let him be a kid.
Yeah, like I recently, my girlfriend's, her experience of the MCU has been patchy. She's seen some, but she's seen as many as she's seen. She's seen quite a few that she hasn't. Wait, that makes no sense. She's seen plenty of them, but she's seen some. She still hasn't seen some. And with this, we watched this just the other day, and she hadn't seen Civil War, though we watched that after Spider-Man Homecoming, believe it or not. But we watched it, and we both had such a great time. That was my first time rewatching it since that wonderful night watching it at the cinema. And she had the same as me. It makes such a difference having a young kid in the role, and the guys around him. It's not sort of one of these movies where the previous ones could get a bit kind of, they were overly emotional, a bit moody. It was just over the top with those sorts of things. With this, it's such a really good balance, and I think it probably is the best Spider-Man movie, though I do have good thoughts on the first two, not the Amazing Spider-Man ones.
No. I mean, I have good thoughts about the first two as well. I just... The thing is that maybe except for the second one, those movies are very, very a product of the early 2000s.
Yes.
Whereas this one, it might be dated in a few years, but because we're only a year removed from 2017, it feels the most modern. And like you said, no one got overly weepy in this one.
No, absolutely not. And one of my favourite scenes of the year, and probably one of my favourite MCU scenes altogether, was when Michael Keaton, he opens that door and you're like, oh, yeah, what a twist. And when he's having the little dad chat with him in the car, that was fantastic. You couldn't imagine Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield sitting in the back of that one. Like, it just wouldn't work out. Whereas you've got Michael Keaton, this powerhouse actor, and this young boy, and it just sells so well. I mean, it's a brilliant movie.
I'll say this. I mean, for the MCU movies this year, which may or may not make further appearances on my list.
Of course they will.
I gotta say, for all the negative talk about the villain problem for Marvel, I think as far as the Marvel Universe movies went in 2017, they all had pretty good villains.
Absolutely, I thought it's been a vintage year for the MCU, that's for sure. So, my number 6, definitely a bit of a different one from Spider-Man Homecoming, is Tony Erdmann. I don't know if you're familiar with this one, Matt.
This is Tony, T-O-N-I, like a woman, right?
Yes,
yeah.
That's right, yeah. It's a nearly 3-hour German comedy. The classic, who'd have thought something like that would have existed? The Germans in comedy. It's a wonderful comedy, drama. His young daughter is working in sort of like Azerbaijan or something along those lines. I can't remember off the top of my head. And she's a very serious, uptight person. She struggles to just relax, to enjoy herself. She's so caught up in the business life. And her retired father is like, he's a practical joker. He's the type of practical joker that will put in funny teeth, fake wigs. And he just starts gate crashing her life, posing as her life coach, and it really is wonderful. It's a really good take on business culture, family dynamics, and one of the things I just loved most about it is that it just builds and builds as a comedy and a drama. And I'm not going to give anything away, but the last act, when the house turns into a bit of a nudist party, as it were, was one of the best things I'd seen this year. I actually saw this on Valentine's Day, and it was one of the most enjoyable Valentine's days I've ever had. Well, it was myself, so I was enjoying my nice date with myself.
Right.
But yeah, Tony Erdmann, the performances are wonderful, and it's one of these, you have to give up a good chunk of your afternoon to watch this one, but it really rewards your time. It's one of the funniest movies people will see all this year, and I highly recommend it.
That's surprising to hear you say. Not that the movie's good, but like, you would think that like
that I spent Valentine's Day alone. I know.
No, well, I mean, who could believe that? Of course, but it's also hard to find a comedy that can sustain itself for 3 hours because comedy is usually a thing where your sweet spot is about 90 minutes.
Absolutely, and this isn't one of those ones that's bang, bang, bang.
Well, yeah, of course. I figured it'd be deeper, but like you described it as a comedy first, and I was like, wow, they were able to sustain a sort of humorous tone for 3 hours.
Absolutely, it's with it being a German comedy. It's one of these things. It's a long joke, and then the punchline's the last 10 minutes.
Okay, gotcha.
But no, I highly recommend it. The comedy in it's fantastic. The drama, it really is one of the best. Kind of the stories of this thing. One of my favorite European movies of the year, and it's been a really good year for that too.
For sure.
So, what's your we're into the top 5 now. I'm curious, what's your fifth one?
My number 5 is a movie that some people really love, some people were kind of okay with, but it was something that just really worked for me. And we're going back to the MCU again with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Interesting. So what made it work for you? As you were saying, it seems to split opinion. Why did it work for you over perhaps other people that thought, well, maybe things aren't just as good as the first one?
Well, you and I did a show on it when it came out, actually. So
that's right. Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. And I what I said then, I still hold true to now. What really worked about it for me was how personal the story was for each of them. And, whereas the first one I thought was a really, really fun action adventure. I got introduced to these characters, but, we didn't delve exactly very deeply, or we didn't get, super emotionally invested beyond maybe Chris Pratt's character. But the first movie made me like them. The second movie made me love them. And it's really the second movie that gets me excited for them to be in Infinity War. And I mean, I know that doesn't work for everybody, but just for me, it was the personal aspect of the story and learning more about the characters that sold me. Plus Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Yeah, Kurt Russell's fantastic, and I haven't watched this movie again since opening night. I just haven't had the time to revisit it. It was showing on the plane when I was flying out to America, and on the way back, and I was like, nah, I don't want to watch this movie on a plane. This is a movie like that's designed for a big TV. My girlfriend watched it on the plane and enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm curious to give this one another go. I enjoyed it. If I had my issues.
Yeah, but I honestly think, and I know you might just think be a biased fanboy, but I think it might actually improve for you on a rewatch. With knowing what the movie is, you can find more things that you like about it.
Yeah, I'm really curious to dive back in. My number 5, I don't know if this made it into your top 10. I think it's either in people's top 10 or bottom 10 of the year, would be Mother.
It didn't make it into my top 10, but that definitely would have been an honorable mention.
Oh, yes. This was a movie I was very excited
Me
for.
too.
Darren Aronofsky, you can split opinion. He's either Requiem for a Dream or he's Noah. I'm always excited for his movies, even if I think, well, this maybe one's not for me. I maybe didn't enjoy it that much, but hey, I'm always there for the next one.
Whether it's Requiem for a Dream or Noah, I always walk away from his movies not exactly sure of what I just saw in the best possible way. I still think of, obviously I walked away with that with Mother, but my first Aronofsky experience was Black Swan.
Oh, such a good movie. And I was really excited for this movie. I thought the trailers were incredible. I thought even things like the typeface of the trailers look good. The cast, Michelle Pfeiffer, it's great. It's been great to see her in things this year. Ed Harris, Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, Domhnall Gleeson, and I can be quite critical of Jennifer Lawrence when
you can.
I think when she's not direct. When she's got a weak director that lets her just be Jennifer Lawrence, I really struggle to engage with her. But when she's got someone like Aronofsky or other individuals that have really kind of directed her and worked with her, I think she delivers brilliant performances, and her performance in this movie is up there with the best of the year.
It's insane.
Yeah, and she is. This is a 2-hour, 1-minute movie, and her face is in every single shot, every single scene, and she is pushed to the absolute limit and extreme. And the less people know about this movie, the better. I know things have popped up on the internet, and little things have kind of snuck out.
Well,
since it's been there.
The thing that I was most curious about is something that I'm sure you saw on the internet, where like people we had no idea what this movie was going to be about when the trailers came out, and there was this theory that it could be some sort of like backdoor sequel to Rosemary's Baby, and yes. I got on board that conspiracy train for a while because I saw a lot of the comparisons and stuff like that. Spoiler alert, it's not, but that stuff like that was fun to speculate about.
Well, it was one of those things. I was so desperate to avoid any spoilers for this. Like the week before this movie had come out, I had got the keys. I finally became a homeowner. I got my keys, but it was really going to be like the following weekend before my family could come down, help me paint, decorate, and they had the spare set keys, and I was like, oh yeah, I've got a thing after work that I need to do, but hey, I'll meet up with you after that. So my parents had started helping me kind of paint some of my house. There I was watching Mother after I finished work a little bit early that day. I was not letting anything get through my spoiler thing, because going into that movie you wanted to go in blind, and what I really loved about the movie is, like, the less about it the better, but obviously we kind of know it's about a couple in a house and things sort of spiral out of control, to say the least. But like, it clearly is a very pointed, at times unsubtle, for better or worse, movie about religion and the Bible, whatever. But when I watched it, I came out of it thinking, wow, that's a really incredible interpretation and discussion about anxiety and mental health. I mean, naturally my mind goes to that because that's my profession, right. And I think when I come out of it, people have interpreted things like, yeah, that may be what the movie could be about, but other people have taken this as it being about that. Other people have interpreted it being about this, and that's something exciting. How long has it been since we've all seen a movie and people have come out with different ideas and views and opinions? And that's what cinema should be about. So whether you love Mother or not, what it kind of represents is something exciting, and I love it for that.
Yeah, I loved it too. Simply for the reason that sometimes I like a movie when that just feels like it's so insane. You feel like it's a hallucination that you have during a really high fever, and that's the best way I can describe Mother. But it was so
I wouldn't recommend it to a mother, though. I wouldn't recommend it to a young mother or parents or anything like that, or people of a sensitive disposition. I mean, that last 10-15 minutes, oh my
last
God,
half 10-15 minutes, probably that last half hour, if we're being honest.
Oh, it just drives you nuts. And it's one of these ones, like, the scene where, like, I'll say this about this movie, it's not a spoiler, but there's a bit where Jennifer Lawrence is stressing about people sitting on a sink, and I'm sitting there like pulling my hair out going, just get off the sink, just listen to her, get off the sink. And that's so exciting that movie taps into that stress and anxiety.
It made me anxious. So it's just like all these people showing up and like no one's really paying attention to her or just acting so bizarre. No. And like you're put right in her shoes, like, what the hell is wrong with all these people? What is the big deal?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's one of these movies. It comes out on Blu-ray in a few weeks here, so I'm looking forward to revisiting this one. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, that was a fascinating movie.
Absolutely. So, I'm curious, if Mother didn't make your top 5, what made your number 4?
Well, you're gonna kill me probably because I know this isn't on your list, and it's
Justice League.
No, and I know it's probably not on a lot of people's list, but it's a movie that I absolutely fell in love with, and I guess I should. No, I'm not going to apologize for it. I just really freaking love it, and that was The Last Jedi.
Interesting. So I'm. It's not about what I thought. Obviously, I didn't rate it as highly as you. Why did you rate it so highly?
Because it went in every place that I didn't expect it to, and it constantly surprised me. And I don't know. Again, I think I put it up there in the same way that I put Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 up there, in the sense that it's a much more personal story, but it's dark for sure. But I don't know. There were things that genuinely shocked me and made me excited. Like if Force Awakens like reinvigorated my Star Wars fandom, like this made me like really like take a hard look at why I like the things that I like about Star Wars. And I really want to see. I definitely want to go back and see Looper now. But I just it was a Star Wars movie, but it was so different from what it came before for me that it was just, for me as an audience member, it was so rewarding. And I've seen it twice now just to make sure that it wasn't like new movie bias talking. And both times I really, really genuinely enjoyed it. And I'll go so far as to say it's my second favorite Star Wars film behind Empire.
Oh wow, high praise indeed. I mean, I'm not going to bang on about why I didn't like it as much, but I just found it to be quite a messy movie. I mean, all this, there's been weird things on the internet that, if you don't like this movie, it's because you can't let go of the past or characters and stuff. You know, I liked all that stuff. I liked that theme and that message, and I loved the stuff with Kylo Ren, Luke, and Rey. You know, I just wanted more of that. I just found it to be a messy movie with things I really struggled with, some creative choices with the story, and it was more so every sort of the resistant plot line, whether that was on the casino planet or up in space, I really struggled with and thought it was quite messy. I love Rian Johnson. I'm curious to see what he does with a fresh slate in Star Wars. So while I may not have been a fan of The Last Jedi, it's not because of Rian Johnson or anything like that. So I'm still curious and hopeful for the future. It was a movie I've seen it a couple of times now, and it's just not clicked for me. But it's great to see Star Wars continuing to be a success.
It's better than the prequels, at least. Come on now.
Yes. I'd give it that. Maybe Phantom Menace is just a little bit better. But
please.
Who knows? Well, my fourth movie, I don't know if this is one that you've seen. It was a small independent movie, Patty Cakes.
No, I wanted to see that, but it left too quickly. But I saw the trailer for that, and I really wanted to see it.
Yeah. Here 1 week, gone the next. Patty Cakes is about an aspiring rapper called Patricia, aka Killer P, aka Patty Cakes. That S is a dollar sign. And yeah, as she's looking to become, a rapper, and she comes from her downtrodden town in New Jersey. I thought this was one of the most uplifting movies all year. It's emotional, it's funny, the music is great. You'll be singing PB&J non-stop after watching this, and it is filled with some brilliant young actors. Patty, Barb, Jerry, Nana. It's one of these movies that you watch, and it's sort of why you go to the cinema sometimes. I like movies to be cynical and have a different take on life, sometimes take the obtuse way. With this, it's very much a conventional story, but it's really enjoyable, and it's filled with exciting characters and music, and it certainly stood out. I watched it and I had a big smile on my face. That's what we go to the cinema for. So yeah, Patty Cakes, I think it will become one of these big cult movies in a few years' time where everyone's talking about it, everyone's quoting about it, but it's just tough to get a break sometimes in these franchise-dominated worlds of getting more than just a week in a cinema, and by the time a bit of word of mouth kicks in, the film's gone. So yeah, I highly recommend Patty Cakes to everyone and yourself.
Yeah, I definitely want to see it when it's available for streaming and all that stuff. So we're getting down to the wire here.
Yeah, the top three. So what's your number three then, Matt?
Well, I said that horror would make another appearance, and here it is, and it is quite literally here it is, because my number three is It.
Interesting. So yeah, why did this make your top three? I imagine there was a lot of stress and anxiety going into this movie when it first came out.
Well, see, here's the thing: is that I'm a huge Stephen King fan, but I never read the book, and I had never seen the Tim Curry version, ever.
Really?
No,
I'm surprised.
It was something that I never got around to, and besides, it was like 3 hours, and who has 3 hours to spare all the time? But what I did do was back in last April, because this movie came out in September. So starting back last April, I downloaded the audiobook from Audible, and I read the book by listening to it, essentially. And I was really taken aback by how captivating it was for a book that's really quite long. Like that 3 hour, there's a reason that original miniseries was 3 hours, is because it's a really long, detailed, involved book.
Absolutely.
But one of the things that I was curious about, and one of the thing that makes it stand out most for me, is like the stuff with the kids. When I was reading it in the book, they were very, very dynamic characters, and I thought, well, Lee, you know better than anyone my history with kid actors.
Yeah.
And so I was like, they're gonna have to find some really, really standout kids for this to work. And these kids are probably like my favorite kid actors that have ever been on screen. I thought they were so good. They were so believable. They weren't trying to be precious at all. They really felt like honest to God kids, teenage, preteens. And of course the horror aspect of it worked, but really what sold me most about it was just the dynamic between the kid actors and the characters. Like that really shocked me how much chemistry they had. And it was just one of my favorite movies of the year. I was sorely disappointed that it wasn't on Blu-ray by the time Christmas came out, because that would have been on my list for sure. And sadly, it'll be out here on Blu-ray in a couple of weeks, so I'll get it then.
Yeah,
but
it was a movie that didn't kind of click for me. I went to see it, and I thought I totally agree with you. Everything you said about the kids, the dynamic between them all, I thought was excellent. It was just the horror aspect I thought was lacking. It didn't click with me. I didn't think it was particularly scary or interesting. I liked how it was very old school, but there's nothing about it where I thought, oh, that was terrifying, or maybe jump in my seat. So I really like the kids, and that's the hardest part to do. So I think it's excellent in that respect. But in the horror sense, I was like, yeah, okay, I've seen this before.
I mean, I've seen it before, but at the same time, like, it's real easy to get horror wrong. And so the fact that it may have been familiar, but it was working for me, that was good enough for me. And I'm really excited for the sequel. I'm already starting like my own casting the adult versions theories.
Who's going to be in your cast? Jessica Chastain's.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Wow. She's going to come up later in my list, but yeah, she's for sure on my list. I've written them down somewhere, and I just can't think of them now. But I'll share them at some point. But I'm like really super excited to see where the sequel goes.
Excellent. Well, my number 3, we can touch on this, is Dunkirk. So Christopher Nolan's movie. So we all know why I love Christopher Nolan, and I thought the movie was such a great. It was, when you think of a war movie, you think it's going to be pretty conventional. I love the idea of the 3 different timelines and them all coming together. I thought that was a masterstroke that only someone like Nolan could have come up with. I thought it was an excellent cast. We actually interviewed Jack Lowden, the Tom Hardy's co-pilot, here in the Nerd Party in June. So yeah, it's been fantastic. But I want to know, enough about me. I want to know why you, as not the biggest Christopher Nolan fan in the world, why did Dunkirk resonate with you, man?
Well, Dunkirk, number 1, World War II movie. You're always going to get me in the seat for a World War II movie. Can't tell you why. I just think it's a very fascinating period of time. And I honestly think, too, part of it is, like, not that I, like, some big supporter of war, but if you think about it, like, that was the last quote-unquote righteous war in history. You know what I mean? It was like, we knew who the enemy was. We knew who the good guys were. And it's just easier to get into the story on that one, right? Besides that, it was a story that I was really interested in, that it was going to be British-centric, because there's a lot of World War II movies about what America did and what the Americans did, but, just being a student of history, like, Britain hung on for a long time by themselves, after France fell and everything. And so I wanted to see this movie of, like, British heroism. And it really was very impactful. I liked the 3 storylines, and that's something in Christopher Nolan's movies that I don't always like. Is like, the man messes with time a lot, and sometimes it works to great effect, like in Memento and here, and sometimes it like really pisses me off, like in Prestige or Interstellar. But the fact that it didn't piss me off here is a big plus, actually, and the fact that I was still able to follow the story, and as all 3 timelines converged, and it was really exciting. It was a 2-hour just stress fest of suspense.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, that's resonated with you, and yeah, that makes me happy. If a Christopher Nolan movie has got onto your top 10 list, then there's hope for every filmmaker that you're maybe a bit lukewarm on.
No, I mean, I'm telling you, like, and I said this on the filibuster I did with Sean. Dunkirk is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
Excellent. I think it's going to be one that's going to do really well at the Oscars. I think it's traditional, it's modern in its approach. It's got that wonderful balance of both. So I think it's going to do really well.
Yeah, I think so too.
So so it's your number 2 then, Matt. What's that going to be?
Well, you're going to be so proud of me, Lee, because you hyped it up so much over the last year, and it didn't. You did not disappoint, and he did not disappoint. My number 2 is Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I knew it would be in there. So I banged on about this movie forever from day one. As soon as Taika Waititi was cast, tell me about your Thor 3. Why did it break the kind of boundary?
And you were so right, because what I did was I saw at least a couple of Taika Waititi's films, including What We Do in the Shadows, which I absolutely loved. But I'm glad I did it because I think some people were surprised by the tone of humor in Thor Ragnarok. I wasn't, though, because I got very familiar with his style of what he finds to be humorous and what he uses as jokes and gags. And so when I went into Thor Ragnarok, I saw that the film was completely Taika's. And,
oh, yes.
And it clicked all the right buttons. It was the perfect Thor movie. It really it was, it was the Winter Soldier of the Thor franchise. It's not as dark as Winter Soldier, but it's the standout movie is what I'm trying to say. And just everything about it worked for me. The humor worked, but that never got in the way of the high stakes and anytime that Cate Blanchett gets to chew up the scenery, I'm absolutely fine with. I think she just on a side note, because I go to a lot of drag shows, I think Hella would make a great drag queen.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, queen with a W, a capital W.
And just everything about it. The supporting cast, Ruffalo was great. Tessa Thompson was fantastic. And even Taika as Korg, like he really sold me. And of course, Goldblum's gonna Goldblum, and anytime Goldblum's, I'm very happy. And that's probably the most Jeff Goldblum role that Jeff Goldblum has ever done.
Yeah, I think Jeff Goldblum now just plays Jeff Goldblum, so I think he's got that nailed down.
But I thought you'd be very happy to know that all your hype about this movie and about the director didn't disappoint. It's my number 2 of the year. Would have been my number 1, except for a movie I saw like 3 days ago.
Oh. And if you could just say it one last time, I was right, was it?
You were right. I mean, I was putting my faith in you beforehand.
Oh yeah, I mean I had a lot riding on this. This is for sure. My number 2 is I was really lucky to get to see this. This isn't out in the UK till February. When I was in America, it was one of the things I had to do. So within about 48 hours of being in Chicago, I went to see Lady Bird. I went with Great Shot Kids, Mike Schindler, to see this one in Chicago. And it's Lady Bird. I'm a Greta Gerwig fan. Frances has it's become one of my all-time favourite movies. So to see her writing her own movie, I know she's co-written with Noah Baumbach on a couple of projects that I've really enjoyed, and this has been a movie I've been so excited for, and I thought it was just a fantastic movie. I don't know if you've seen this one, man.
No, it's at the Indie Theater. It's on my list to see before I go back to school next Wednesday. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. I know you like the director, and for me personally, the draw is Saoirse Ronan and Laurie Metcalf.
She's brilliant. Yeah, those two together are fantastic. And Timothy Clement, you'll see him in Call Me By Your Name. I feel like I've seen him have so many sex scenes this year.
What's it? Oh, Timothy Chalamet.
Yes, that's the one. Yes, another one mispronounced by Lee. But yeah, it was such a great cast, and I think it's been one of those things I've been thinking about it a lot since I've seen it. And what's got me quite excited is that I was a teenager in the early 2000s, and it's now getting to that stage where movies and culture you can now define what that period of time was like to be a teenager by the music, the films, what people were going on and experiencing. And here's a shock, I was not a Californian girl in early 2002, but so much of it was relatable, and I think it was so great to have a female writer, a female director telling a story about a young female and a mother, and I thought that worked so well. And it's such a brilliant, wonderfully quotable script. The performances are fantastic, and it's exciting to see a period of time I grew up and lived in become something where it's almost coming into a cycle now. You can make films about that. It's not just films that are shot in the present then. It's now a period of time. And I find that quite exciting. So, yeah, Lady Bird was my number 2, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again when it comes out in February.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Like I said, that's on my I'm doing my award season watch list, and that's on it for sure.
Yeah, it's nailed on going to win Best Original Screenplay. I think Gerwig will get nominated for Best Director as well. So if you're wanting to take some nerd party money, that's my recommendation. Lady Bird will win Best Original Screenplay.
Well, I gotta say, my number 1 movie of the year, something that I just saw, and really I saw it because I am getting ready for award season, but like, when I see an awards movie that like I immediately, like one that I think is going to be an awards movie that I can't stop thinking about and I want to see again, that's a high watermark for me. And so my number 1 movie of the year is Molly's Game,
which will be my first movie of 2018. Tomorrow at 10:40 a.m. I'm booked in to see that movie. It just came out today.
I really hope you end up liking it as much as I did, because
I think I will. I'm a huge Sorkin fan.
Because oh my god, I was just so blown away. Like, I mean, I need to go back and watch some of Sorkin stuff. I haven't seen The West Wing. I didn't see Social Network, and these are all things that I need to see.
Tristan's screaming at you right now that you've not seen sort of The Social Network.
Well, I mean,
it's so good.
It's David Fincher, so I tend to treat it like Christopher Nolan. But Molly's Game was just Jessica Chastain. I've been a fan of her since I saw her back in The Help in 2011. But like, she's just continually impressed me with every performance, and this by far is the best performance I've ever seen her give. She's so good. She's so confident. I love her with Idris Elba. This movie had something that kept. I was never bored. I was always intrigued. I was laughing. I was shocked. I mean, it runs the whole gamut of emotions, and I just had so much fun with this movie. I'm literally like, I know I have to see the other awards movies, but I'm dying to see this one again.
Yeah, I'm excited because I think the trailer plays it quite cool. You watch and think, yeah, it seems like an interesting enough drama thriller. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. But like, it's been kind of building now for the past few weeks. All the reviews have been so great, and it's been a movie that I'm so excited. I would have seen it today.
And no disrespect,
I could have even talked about it today, but my girlfriend's mum had her birthday today, so it was out for lunch with her.
I know how inconsiderate of your girlfriend's mom.
So rude, isn't it? But Molly's Game tomorrow, I'm going in very high.
And no disrespect to Idris Elba, who's great in this movie. He's great in everything, but I loved him in this movie. But the movie lives and dies by Jessica Chastain's performance, and for me, like I said, it's the best one I've ever seen her give. She's simultaneously in control, and yet there are moments of like actual genuine, not slapstick comedy, but just like what I imagine is like Aaron Sorkin's brand of comedy. It's witty.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited. I'm so excited to go into this one tomorrow. I'll be sure to message you straight away.
And so, like, I thought you'd be pleasantly surprised that, like, I don't know if you consider this an indie movie since it's an awards contender, but like a smaller movie is my number 1 movie of the year.
I'm really happy to hear that, and I can't wait to see it tomorrow. My first movie of 2018. See if it matches your best of 2017.
Fingers crossed. I really hope you enjoy it.
Excellent. Well, my number 1 of the year, I suppose it's probably a cliche Lee movie here. Like, obviously my number 1 was Jackie. This was my number 1 up until the last minute, and I rewatched Jackie.
That's okay. Jackie's a great movie.
Exactly. I'd visited Arlington Cemetery, and things like that kind of impact on your things as well. It's a movie, Paul Verhoeven's Elle. I don't know if you're familiar with this one.
No, I had heard the name. I didn't realize it was Paul Verhoeven though.
Yeah, so Isabella Huppert is a successful businesswoman who gets caught up in a game of cat and mouse as she tracks down an unknown man who raped her. Cheery, This movie is... It's a movie that only the Europeans could get away with. This movie. I was
going to say that sounds like so your kind of movie, though.
Yeah, this movie had been touted around America. Julianne Moore, I think, had been linked with it, but like movie studios in America, actresses weren't willing to go with it. Isabella Huppert, I mean, I think you would absolutely love this. Her performance in it is fantastic, and it doesn't go the way you think it will go. And what I love about this movie is it's dark, and it swings within minutes into comedy, which swings into family farce, which swings into horror, which swings into this movie just goes through a gauntlet of emotions and drama and genre, and that's what makes it exciting. It is a heavy and dark storyline, but it never goes the way you expect it. If people think The Last Jedi is a big twist on what people are expecting, when you watch this movie, and it opens with a sexual assault, so you know straight away it's going to be either a movie you think, oh, okay, right, well, where will this go, or oh, this is going off, which is a perfectly understandable response, but it challenges you straight away. And Isabella Huppert's performance is incredible. If I'm correct, she got nominated for an Oscar last year for Best Actress, and she'd missed out to Emma Stone. And it's such an incredible movie. It's one of these movies. It's a thriller, a whodunit. It's a comedy. It's a family farce. It's an exciting movie. I know it's now on UK Netflix. I think it's probably on Netflix now in America or along those lines. I highly recommend it. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's subtitled, so it's not for everyone. But if you're looking for a strong performance, genuinely brilliant cinema, great farce, comedy, I highly recommend Elle. It's one of those movies you will definitely remember it, for better or for worse, but it will stick with you. It's great original cinema, and that's something we should always champion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it sounds like we've got a pretty exciting and diverse list of 10 movies there. So I'm just curious, Matt, just off the top of your head, was there any movies that maybe disappointed you this year, or anything that stood out for you?
Well, talk about movies that really disappointed me, where I had expectations and it really let me down. Alien Covenant is my number one.
Yeah, that was a disappointing one. I've just picked up on Blu-ray for £5, so I'm gonna give it another go again.
I probably should. And then it was almost the reverse for me, because I was fine with Prometheus, but I was a lot less fine with Alien Covenant. And I think that it was because, honestly, it was because it was called Alien Covenant. Like, if you're calling it Prometheus, then I'm not expecting an Alien movie. But if you call something Alien Covenant, I expect it to be much more of an Alien movie than it was a Prometheus movie, and it just didn't give me what I wanted. And the stuff that it did give me with the Alien was, I thought, very predictable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And talk about
it didn't live up to it for me.
And for the end twist, quote unquote, is something that you have to be blind not to be able to see.
Yeah, we saw that one coming, and I think that's probably the series dead in the water for quite a long time now with the Disney buyout. I can't see the Alien Queen joining the fellow Disney princesses for a little while.
You never know. I mean, I just hope that if they do, they poor Ridley Scott, just kick him to the curb. He's done.
Yeah. And wow, there we go. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes next. Obviously, All the Money in the World, I think, comes out here.
I do want to see that.
And yeah, that'll be an interesting one. But I would never discount Ridley Scott. Whether you like him or hate him, he's always going to make something that provokes some kind of reaction.
It's true, but I mean,
hopefully,
the man's been spouting off about what he wants to do next, and none of it interests me with the Alien franchise. I mean,
yeah, oh yeah, of course, yeah. So yeah, I think hopefully the Alien franchise, when it comes back again, will be something unique. But we've said that for a while.
Just give me the friggin' Blomkamp movie that I was looking forward to.
Yes, I wanted that too. So he shared some photos again over the Christmas period. So hopefully it's going to be coming back soon. So what are you looking forward to in 2018, Matt? Before we wrap up.
So I just kind of made. I came up with 5 movies that I'm really looking forward to. I'll give you 3. I'll give you one guess as to what my number 1 movie for 2018 is going to be. Infinity War.
It's got to be.
Yeah, for sure. Other than that, Black Panther, because I think those previews look good, and it comes out right after my birthday, so I'm a little biased there. Mission Impossible 6.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's out this year.
Really loved Rogue Nation. Was blown away.
Looking forward to seeing that famous mustache.
Me too. I you know what, I was gonna say I hope it was worth it, but I know for sure it was worth it, because it's like, we either sacrifice him for a franchise that's been critically reviled and has not made a lot of money, or we sacrifice him coming onto a sequel to a movie that just has done really well. So yeah, Paramount gets priority in that for me. Number 4, I mentioned that horror would make a list in my most anticipated for 2018, and again, I'll give you one guess as to which one I'm talking about.
Ooh, surprise me, Matt.
Well, we got news earlier this last year about someone coming back to a franchise that's near and dear to my heart.
John Williams is going to be doing the score for Han Solo.
That's true, but also Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back to Halloween, and
I am shocked.
No one was more shocked than me, and I think when I saw that, like, I was driving and I had to pull over because I was just so emotionally overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's going to be one.
That's how near and dear to the franchise that franchise is to me, in that first film especially, and the fact that she's coming back and John Carpenter's actually going to be involved with this one. You couldn't have asked for a better birthday gift.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. I'm happy for you. I think we all thought when we heard that news, we all thought about you. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be one to be excited for.
And then I just saw the trailer for this. Really looking forward to it. Was always looking forward to it since I'm a fan of the series. Ocean's 8.
Yeah, that should be an interesting one. It's got James Corden in it, so I'm somewhat hesitant.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be the focus. I mean, I'm looking forward to the great cast. I mean, Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, even Helena Bonham Carter's doing her shtick, but it actually looks like it's funny. Yeah. And I love Oceans. I love the Ocean. Well, I love Oceans 11 and 13. 12, not so much.
Yes, I'm not a fan. I know Mike Schindler's will die on that battlefield for 12, but yeah, it's definitely 11 and 13 for me. And for me, I suppose, like, my ones I'm looking forward to, Phantom Thread, the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie, that'll come out next month in February here in the UK, so I'm excited for that. Duncan Jones's new movie, Mute, comes out. It's a Netflix movie, so I'm hoping I get a chance to see it at the cinema. New Wes Anderson stop motion, Isle of Dogs.
Yeah.
And one that I think will be worth keeping an eye out is called Please Stand By.
Yeah,
By.
the Star Trek one, right?
Yeah, Dakota Fanning plays a young autistic woman. Oh, you've seen it?
Saw that. No, I saw that trailer. But before you told the nerd party chat about it, I had seen that trailer.
Oh yeah,
and I really wanted to see it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fantastic movie about a young autistic girl who tries to submit her manuscript to a Star Trek writing competition with Paramount. So, yeah, a lot to look forward to and a lot of diverse movies in 2018.
And actually, one movie that I didn't mention that could be really interesting, like, I know for you at least, like, the X-Men franchise has been hit and miss, but that New Mutants one looks interesting. Like, it looks different.
Yeah, the trailer looked fascinating, yeah.
So, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what that's about.
Absolutely, and we'll be there to guide everyone through 2018. We'll be recommending movies across the whole platform of podcasts. So, Matt, if people wanted to reach out and talk about your top 10 with you, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at mhansen0207, HANSEN.
And you can find me on Twitter at Lee_Nostromo. You can find the Nerd Party on Twitter at Join Nerd Party, on Facebook /The Nerd Party, Instagram /The Nerd Party. Just type in the Nerd Party into the internet and you'll find us, and you'll find all our great podcasts from Nerd Nuptial to Great Shot Kid and everything in between. So it's going to be an exciting year to be a geek. The Infinity War is nearly upon us, and we've got some exciting stuff that we're going to be doing here on the Filibuster as we count down to Infinity War.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, you can. It will surprise no one that when that trailer came out, I watched it at least 50 times that first day.
I've watched it twice, and I'm gonna try and avoid. That'll be me.
I know that's your thing. I just take it all in. I soak up every moment.
Oh yeah. I'm tempted to just even switch it on now, but no, I'm trying to be good. I want to be good, so we'll wait and see. So thank you so much all for joining us, and Matt, as always, I'll let you close out the show with one of your famous little lines.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have anything clever, but I'll just say thank you so much for joining us for this 2017 in film retrospective, and we'll see you at the cinema for 2018.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.
Welcome to Nerd Party.